This is where we hold them. This is where we fight.
You are now listening to Sweep the Rack podcast featuring Brooklyn Rob and Big Mike.
Rob, what's good, homie? Yo, I knew you'd be giddy when the show opened up tonight. If you're listening to this in audio, we open the show and Rob comes out with just ear-to-ear smile on his face.
Dude, I fucking love 2022 Professional Bowling Association season. This is by far the best season of bowling ever. And it really has nothing to do with what's going on in the lanes. There's so much shit going outside the lanes. I feel like we're in a reality show, Mike, and it is my heaven. This is the greatest PBA year so far in the history of the Professional Bowling Association. But Mike, before we get into, I'm going to let people come in. You know, we normally start on time here at Sweep the Rack. We don't like to keep our viewers listening, but we like to keep, they funnel in as the minutes go on here. We had some bowling this weekend real quick, right? So we're going to go through a little bit of a league review, your league review. I had some bowling this weekend, Mike. We'll talk a little bit about that. So let's hear about your league review. I hear you bowled pretty good. So let's hear it first.
6:30 last night. Yeah, I mean, I didn't bowl great. I bowled really good the first game. I shot, I think, like 248 the first game, and then 192, 190 the next two. So not terrible. I think I missed a few makeables that I probably could have done a better job at, but in general, wasn't a bad night. I'll take it. We won 5-4. Won the first game in totals. And yeah, I'll take it as a decent night. A couple things from League Report though. So shout to Team Slipknot. I put this out on Twitter. It's Pete Perez, George Cretella, and Lou Gaudio. And hold on, I want to get this number right, so I'm going to bring it up on Twitter real quick. Let's see. Last night in league on the sport pattern on the short. Okay, they went Pete Perez 279, George Cretella 268, Lou Gaudio 258 for 805. Okay, 805.
House shot. They bowling the house shot. They're walled up.
No, well, to the contrary, because let me comment. Here's the series on those numbers. Okay, 659. So he was minus 20 after two. 683. So it was plus about 10 after two, and 688 was plus 30 after two.
Oh, they broke down to just.
Oh yeah.
They broke down.
Yeah, okay, I guess. I'd also like to give an update on Mr. X. Mr. X. It seems I don't have the inside info here, but it seems that Mr. X's teammate, one of his teammates, has quit. It seems like one of his teammates has quit. I don't know. I'll try and get the inside info on that. Last night there was a pair breakdown, and Mr. X had to move to the breakdown pair, which happened to be next to my pair, and they ended up bowling right next to us. So obviously I was kind of watching the bowling. Mr. X, rough night, lost 9, and shot almost sub 400. Sub 400. Okay, so I mean that's
you've been there. You've been there.
No. I've been sub 5. But just sub 5. Sub 4 is a different category, is it not? Come on, for 3 games, sub 400.
I could kick the ball down the lane and shoot 400.
I don't know. So yeah, I agree with Robert Hamilton in the chat. It's looking like it might be a second early exit. But yeah, we'll see.
Sounds like instead of Mr. X, you should call him Mr. Open.
They were rough. Mr. X has a player on his team who basically uses like mainly I would say lower end equipment, very polished, pearl lower end bowling balls, and they just like make the lanes an absolute mess. So yeah, it gets kind of tough when they get sloppy on this stuff. Our pair was a little sloppy last night too because there was a lot of urethane going down the lane, but it helped me because I was able to find some hole. But all right, nonetheless, I also bowled a tournament over the weekend, Rob. I bowled the Monmouth County Masters on Kegel Titanium. There was probably like 120 entries, I think.
Wow.
A name that we both know won the event, Rusty Thompson. Shout to him. Took down the Monmouth County Masters. 120 bowlers, mostly league bowlers that aren't experienced on sports stuff. But we were bowling on 44-foot titanium from Kegel. And Rob, I honestly I haven't been this baffled leaving a bowling center in quite some time. It was a 44-foot pattern, but sanded early balls looked terrible. And the best ball that I had was a polished ball with the pin up. And I still couldn't get that to carry because that really didn't give me enough. I needed a little bit more than that, but something polished. And honestly, I was just really confused. For 3 games, I hit the pocket and repeated shots pretty well, I thought, and I got very little out of it. I got 170, 190, 190, and it was very frustrating, and I was very confused. But like I said, I always enjoy bowling on the tough because you do have those shots that or those stretches of shots where you throw it excellently and have success, and you're like, all right, see, like I can do it. I just need to work on repeating that. But you also bowled a tournament, Rob, that
Yeah,
I heard was on Sport, but I'm
supposed to
wondering
be.
like what goes on in Arizona because I saw a thing today from Big Bowling that happened to come across my feed, and they were promoting this guy who averaged 250 at a tournament in Arizona over the weekend for 7 games of qualifying, and I'm like, wait a second, tournament in Arizona over the weekend. That might be the tournament Rob went to.
It
And
was.
damn it if it ain't the tournament Rob went to.
It
Guys,
is.
somebody averaged 250 for 7 games at the tournament that Rob went to. You
Yeah.
guys know what I'm going to say about that. Clearly not up to the standard that I would personally promote, and certainly not up to the Greg Tax standard, which we kind of like around here. So, but go ahead, Rob. Let's hear about your experience. I'm sorry to hate.
Honestly, like I don't make the shots. I just shoot up and bowl. The shot was 42 foot. It was a Kegel. I think it was Autobahn. But that house is notoriously for having friction to the right. So I'm not the pattern was out. Trust me. Like it was out. But the bone center friction, you could tell if you missed right, the ball was hooking. And if you had the right ball in your hand and you missed left, there was push. Now, as for being house, I mean, look, sometimes a tough shot or a pattern ends up looking or can be just as easy as a house shot if the right factors happen in the bowling center and you have good enough bowlers. Okay, so real quick, my pair, okay, my cross, 6 on a pair, me, Wesley Lowe, Michael Haugen, Robbie Patterson, Matt Jones, Brianna Cote. Okay, that was the 6 on my pair. All right. Now, if anybody knows, obviously we all know Mike Haugen and Wesley Lowe, Brianna Cote, right? One of the top PWBA bowlers. But anybody knows Robbie Patterson and Matt Jones, they're no slouches either. Those are great amateurs in their own rights. So me personally, just first game was getting my feet under me, trying to just relax a little bit. Ended up switching to a code black game 3. Had a really great look. And then my last game, I was actually the cashing number. I was 9th going into the last game. And we crossed the house and I went on 1 and 2. And I just couldn't figure him out until like the 3rd or 4th, 5th frame. And then I started, you know what happens when you get off to a slow start. You start wrapping 10s. But 3 of those 7 games, Mike, I was on a double going into 10th frame and I stoned a 10. So if you could figure how many pins I left out, ended up plus 172 for 7, averaged about 224, finished about 15th. So the scores were really high. And that's really a tournament review, Mike. I mean, I got a new grip. Remember I talked about it? I practiced Saturday. The grip felt great. Just have to get my balance a little bit better, get some timing. I chopped one spare in 7 games. Didn't miss one single pin. Spare shooting felt good. So yeah, man, I'm good. I'm gonna bowl March the Phoenix City tournament. Actually bowling with Mike Haugen as my doubles partner. I just found out. And then Sunday is going to be another sport shop tournament somewhere. So yeah, it was nice to be back. Felt good throwing the ball. It was probably, to be honest with you, I was probably happy to start my comeback on a little bit of an easier shot. I don't think I was ready to bowl on a Greg Tack type sport shot yet. I like the fact that there was room to miss for me left and a room to miss for me right. It just can, start building some confidence, and then I'll get into some of the nitty gritty when that gets put out, but I'll be more prepared for it. So yeah, that's my tournament review.
No doubt. All right, Rob, you were giddy when we started the show.
I'm still giddy. I'm ready to talk about it. I was going through my tournament review really quick.
Because there's drama in the bowling community, and the drama yet again is over the urethane equipment, and specifically, perhaps the most infamous ball in history, the urethane purple hammer. All right, so we're going to talk about this subject in 3 different approaches here. Okay. Going to be a little bit different from how we do things around here normally, because we want to make sure that we separate the ideas where separation is needed. Would you agree with that phrasing, Rob?
Yeah, because I don't want people to feel like our speculation is facts and our facts is speculation,
and get the facts confused from other things. So we're going to lay out some facts. We're going to discuss some facts that Rob and I researched in some instances, some that were discussed with us outside of the show, information that came across our radar. We're going to discuss rumors, because there's a lot of rumors out there in this situation, Rob.
Speculation, Mike.
Okay. We're going to discuss another category of semantics in this issue. Okay. Because whether you're aware or not, there's a lot of small details in this issue that definitely contribute to the overall picture, I think. And then finally, we're going to talk about solutions, right? And what should be done. What do we think should be done in this situation, okay, with all this controversy about the urethane balls? All right, so Rob, let's start with the facts. Do you want to lay out some
I'll
facts
shoot a fact.
here?
I'll lay out some facts. So 3 balls failed the pre-harness checks prior to the TV show, right? That's, to me, the main fact, right? Another fact. It's the first time this season that durometers were used and counted, as they have been running, the PBA has been running into durometer issues all season. So first time they've actually used the durometers. I'd say one of the other main facts here is, let's just start there, Mike, right? 3 balls fail. Okay. Find out that they banned 3 balls.
It's also a fact that those same balls were used all throughout the week in competition.
Correct.
They were not checked in competition during the week. They were checked before the show.
Correct.
Okay. Fact. I think that a problem lies in that in and of itself, right? But let's be clear, and this is opinion, that the responsibility for that, and maybe this is fact, actually, maybe it's not opinion. The responsibility for that falls to the PBA and the PBA only. Am I safe in saying that that's fact, Rob? That the organization isn't the sole body responsible in that instance. They're running the event to check the balls for the legality before the event starts, rather than before the final portion of the event.
Well, yeah, starts. That's the main solution here to this.
Okay,
right? You really want to talk solutions already? That's the main solution.
Well, we'll talk solutions overall, right? but that's how they decided to do it. That's how the PBA decided to do it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I think it's an opinion. I think it's a terrible decision.
Terrible.
I think you would agree. I think most bowlers would agree, right? If you're going to test equipment at any point, it only makes sense to test in the beginning of the event, right? Correct. So, good on that, Rob. Good on that portion of it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw out a fact. All right.
Hit me with it.
All urethane balls from all companies have shown evidence of getting softer over time with use.
Correct. That was in the USBC. That was in the research report they did. This is
from the USBC report.
It is.
Okay. This is a fact. All right. I think that's a very important fact because the focus seems to be on the Purple Hammer. And while I understand why, because it's a great ball and a very useful ball, obviously, okay, but all of the urethane balls from all companies get softer over time. Now, I'm not going to jump to solutions, but I point out that fact because when we talk solutions at the end of this conversation, I'm definitely going to come back to that as part of why I'm going to give the solution that I'm going to give. So, to me, the question that comes out of that idea is why such the focus on the Purple Hammer, right?
I'll tell you, because of some of the speculation. That's why.
All right,
some of the hearsay.
Let's stick to fact right now. But
the hearsay relates to the fact, Mike.
All right, go ahead.
So if anybody read Mitch Beasley's Facebook comment, I feel like I should probably read that, Mike. Should I bring it up? Should I read it?
Yeah.
Okay. So Mitch Beasley wrote, the difference in the purple urethane is that the average hardness of them is 72 to 73 from the factory. That's why they outhook the black urethane, which is average 77 to 78 hardness. That means several will be under the limit due to the fact that not every ball is the same hardness after manufacturing. Okay, so that's a fact. I could go with that. Several of the first batches. Now here's the key to all this. Okay,
this is where the rumor comes in, right?
Right. Several of the first batches weren't tested at the factory at all due to a bad employee, and lots went out with 6 to 7 serial numbers that were in the mid 60s for hardness. Okay, that is a huge accusation. Okay, just that sentence alone. Okay, essentially what he's saying is that there was a batch of bowling balls that were made illegal that went out, and they went out due to a bad employee from EBI Kentucky. Can we? Is that fair to say that's what he's saying here?
I think that's an accurate summary.
Okay. USBC should have been testing them in the field sooner when they discovered this, but didn't take action. Several of the players found out about it and went actively searching for the 6 to 7 serial numbers to get the softer ones as they hook more and it hit much better. Speculation, okay? Because if you can't name players and you don't have any evidence that these players went actively searching for these bowling balls, then it's hearsay, okay? At this point, you need an evidence to show that these players went out actively searching, which he'll never be able to prove unless he could show some pro, Googling or Facebooking saying, does anybody have his specific serial number? No way you can prove that. Pros will just deny that. I would bet, for the Sixers and softer ones as they hook, I would bet that a few players have several that they know that are soft and use them regularly when they know they won't be checked. Speculation, because now he's saying that some pros know that they're using an illegal ball and they're still using it because they know that they won't get tested. And probably if they do get tested, the last thing that will happen to them is they will be held accountable for that bowling ball. They'll probably just have the ball confiscated, which is exactly what happened at the TOC show, right? 3 of the bowling balls were deemed illegal and were confiscated from, the pros don't get to keep the balls. Once they're illegal, those balls get confiscated. But there's no accountability on those pros end that were using those illegal balls. So they just go ahead in their merry way, and they make the show using essentially illegal balls all throughout qualifying and match play, and nothing gets they don't get held accountable for it.
My question, I have a couple questions here because we're in that unconfirmed ideas section here, right? So my question
Leon,
is,
you're right. Who knows, right?
How would Kentucky or Ebonite, how would they know that the balls are testing soft and then still send the balls out? In terms of the balls being soft. When you mention the bad employee, like I need more information there. Like, was it an honest mistake where these balls were marked don't send out, and they sent them out? And when you say that players went searching for them, right? Do you literally mean that players were calling pro shops or bowlers who had purchased balls and saying, "Hey, can I get that ball?" and then plugging it and using it because it's a soft ball, and they're knowingly using a soft ball? Here's another question, because again, we're in that rumor or speculation area, right? And it creates a lot of questions. So another question to me is, what standard is there for the players to know this information about the ball that's in their bag and self-enforce these rules like you're kind of suggesting here, Rob? Because that's
look, here's the thing is, at first I thought, well, when I'm hearing about all this issue, and I'm thinking to myself, well, yeah, maybe the players should be able to try to figure out if there's stuff that they're throwing is illegal before they bowl and qualifying. But it is hard. Pros aren't going to be carrying a durometer with them, and and really having an ability to test these bowling balls in a fair playing field. The USBC can't even do it. Okay, there's so much challenges, and there's so much outside factors that go in when you test the softness and hardness of these bowling balls. At this point, here's what I'm trying to say is it's not fair to the pro, right? If the ball gets tested illegal and you're the pro that has that bowling ball, it's completely not fair to you, but you should be held accountable regardless.
Oh, come on, that's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Just listen to what you said there,
But look like. You technically, Mike, let me say something. You technically used an illegal ball all qualifying.
Yeah, but what you're going to do in that situation is that you're either going to, penalize players for not being aware of something that I don't really think that we would generally expect them to be aware of. And secondly, and you may do that in an instance where the ball started a competition as legal and then ends a competition as illegal, or goes through a few different competitions and becomes illegal. So one time the player thought the ball was okay, and now a few events later it gets tested for another purpose or another test, and it's illegal, and you're saying that action needs to be taken against that player. That's ridiculous. I mean,
look, I'm not saying it's fair.
What that would lead to, I think, would be the players not using this equipment, not to run that risk if they really cared about it, not to run that risk and not use this equipment until the manufacturers got it worked out to where that risk wouldn't be there for them. Okay? And again, we'll get to the solutions in a bit. There's a lot of semantics here, Rob.
Okay? It is. But here's the thing
there's a lot of semantics
Mike,
here.
The point I'm trying to make is the fact that, if this was any other sport, it doesn't matter what sport it was, any other sport out there, if you get caught using an illegal anything, regardless if it was your fault or not your fault, the player usually gets penalized some way or somehow. Okay, that's my point here. Is golf, right? If the player signs is wrong, if they have a mistake on their scorecard, they get fined or penalized. If a player is taking some kind of PEDs and they didn't realize they were taking it from some over the counter,
but hold
protein.
Hold on. These examples you're talking about are very cut and dry. They're very black and white. And this example is not. This example
it's not
is
cut.
not.
I agree with that. It's
okay?
not. There's so much.
So like you could have a purple hammer that starts legal, progresses to be illegal. You could have a pitch black that starts legal and progresses downward, maybe to a point that it's illegal, maybe not. Maybe a purple hammer progresses downward to a point that it's illegal, maybe not. Let me also talk about some of the semantics involved in this test, because Rob, we're not high level professional bowlers out here, right? So we got to take the information that we have, and we want to make sure that other people hear this information because we find it interesting in terms of how it relates to this controversy. There's a lot of semantics involved in this test, Rob. Okay, the temperature of the bowling ball matters for this test. Okay, I had friend of the show Charlie Tapp, had a conversation with him today. Charlie, appreciate the conversation. Rob, he told me that back in the day when he was on tour, if a urethane ball or any other ball was tested and it was below softness, they would take it and they would put it in a cooler. Okay? 2 hours later, they would bring it out and test it again. If it tested hard enough, it was good. If it was below, it wasn't good. I mean, is that really what we're talking about here? We're talking about so this could be a process where if you put the ball in a cooler for 2 hours, it changes the results of the test. I got to be honest with you, folks. That seems a little silly to me if that's true. Okay, let me talk about another piece of semantics here. Rob, the durometers themselves have an error, a margin of error because Rob, if I read the report right, the way this test is done is numerous readings are taken on the ball, and then they take an average of those readings. Okay, but numerous durometers are used as well. Okay, the durometer to durometer margin of error is 0.8 to 1.8. So, am I reading that correctly? That a ball could test 1 point below legal, and depending on the durometer, that might mean that it is legal as opposed to illegal if you tested it with this other durometer over here?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what the USBC report said.
That's what the USB report said to me, too.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I got to be honest. If that's the case, this seems pretty silly to me. Okay? Let me talk about another piece of semantics here. I heard from a very, very reputable source who I don't want to name that cleaning the bowling ball can actually affect the results of these durometer readings. So if you take a ball right out of competition and just wipe off the oil and test it, it might test soft. But if you take it and you clean it with acetone and maybe put it on a spinner with an Aberlon pad, it will test legal. Is that true? Because if it is, this seems rather silly to me. Let me point out another issue of semantics here. And Rob, I want you to respond to all these when I'm done. Again, some of these balls that were tested were within 1 point of each other, right? I believe I saw that correctly on the USBC report, that there were balls that tested either near or just under the hardness level allowed, and then there were other balls that tested under those, but there was really just a point difference between those balls, right? Well, Rob, what's the difference between 1 point and another? I don't know. Do you know? I don't know if anybody knows. So like, Rob, these semantics to me, and I'm going to tell you why I take so much time to discuss this. It's because they matter in this situation. Most of the time, it's something you can disregard. But the semantics here and the little issues with this test and the durometers and all these different things, I don't know, man. This makes this issue a little bit silly to me. Go ahead, Rob.
Okay, first off, inches matter in this sport. So all that matters. All the semantics of these tests, they matter. okay? Because you don't know, you can't quantify if the ball's actually going to be better if it's like whatever 0.1 softer, okay? That's hard to quantify. You don't know that. But there has to be, a level playing field, right? So here's my thing is urethane, okay? This is where we're at right now. And I like to try to look at this at a high level, someone who doesn't understand a lot of what I'm reading here in the USBC report, okay? You have a ball or balls, urethanes, and I'm not saying the purple hammer. I'm saying all urethane balls. You have a equipment right now that is changing once it's manufactured, Mike. So, right, once the ball is manufactured, they test it. It's passing USBC certification because it tests legal. As you use it, these balls are getting softer. That's a fact. Okay, nobody could argue that. And according to all these variations and all the stuff you're talking about with all the inconsistencies, okay, all the inconsistencies of these tests, the control, the gauges, the operators, Mike, you don't know. The USBC was taking these balls into some secret double probation room where nobody was being able to watch them test on a lot of these tests, right? And this was, per like Jeff Riggles in his 11 frame, okay? So you don't know who's even doing the testing, who's watching the testing. You don't know any of that, okay? There's so much inconsistencies with the testing and the reporting. There's two things, Mike, that you need to do. You want to talk solutions here? They really need to pull the urethane. They need to pull the urethane off. USBC literally needs to come. I'm telling you, they need to either pull the urethane off and just say, let's get this right before we come back and maybe put it back on the PBA certified list. Let's figure out what the hell's going on.
The USBC and PBA can have different rules, and that's a
they can, and they had different hardnesses at one time.
Yeah.
They did. They had different hardness levels at one time.
I know. So like that's a different conversation for a different time.
Conversation.
But,
here's my first. Here's my main point, okay? I want to talk about Sean Rash, okay? Because that got brought up in my comments. Sean Rash got so much shit from everybody about this whole problem. And he was blasting everybody, saying these balls they're getting tested illegal. They're getting tested illegal. Someone needs to do something about it. The kids pretty much scream. They pretty much, and the only way for him to get heard was to pretty much yell about it right before his opponent was about to get up in a 10 frame, okay? And got a lot of shit for it. If I was Sean Rash, I would rent one of those helicopters or jets, and I would fly it above the World Series of Bowling next year with a big "fuck you, I told you so" in the sky.
Yeah, but what what is the complaint about? Why? What is the difference when it comes down to it and you look at that USBC report, okay?
Uh-huh.
What is the difference between a purple hammer that can get softer over time, hold on, hear me out, and any other urethane ball from another company that can get softer over time? What's the difference?
There is no difference. But the difference is the fact where there are reports, hearsay coming out of EBI Kentucky in 2016 and 2017 that the players knew that ball was illegal and they were trying to get their hands on it and they're still using it till this day. That's where the complaint is from Sean Rash. Now, I don't want to put words in his mouth because this is something that he hasn't told me. But Mike, if you're bowling against a 2016 or 2017
we're talking conspiracy here, though.
100%.
We're talking
I love conspiracy,
okay?
But it's coming from a reputable source.
And if something escalates to that level, then yeah, this would be a completely different conversation. But to me, until it escalates to that level and there's proof to that level, okay, I do not see the difference between one urethane ball and another when they both get soft over time to the point where they can both test illegal. I mean, to me, that this is what it boils down to. Then the purple hammer is just a better ball than all the other urethane balls. You know, I saw Lou in the comment mentioning the weight blocks. Maybe it is the weight block. I thought that the Purple Hammer particularly had a pretty simple weight block in it. I know some of the Widow urethane balls have complicated weight blocks in them. Here's another point that I haven't mentioned yet, but I'll throw this out there since I've been bowling lately. Has anybody seen a UC3 go down the lane? I mean, that's urethane, and that seems to hook more than any urethane ball that I've ever seen. I've seen people hook in the lane with that ball. I've had people tell me, "Oh, that ball hooks too much to use it on that pattern." So what about that example? And why is there not? Hold on. If that's what we're talking about, softness and hook, etc., why is there not so much discussion about that? Why again is the focus on the Purple Hammer? I don't understand. That's what I don't get. What show me something in that USBC report that says all the focus should be on the Purple Hammer, and I'll put all the focus on the Purple Hammer. But to be honest with you, if we're going to go down that road of these balls are illegal and shouldn't be used, then guess what it's going to mean? It's going to mean all urethane balls. That's what it's going to mean. Okay? Because to me, after you read that report, and I sent that report out on Twitter, okay? I sent that report out on Twitter. If you read the report, and you want to get rid of this problem, the only solution is to get rid of all of the urethane, because it's proven, it is factually proven that it can all get softer over time.
I'm not saying to get rid of them. I'm just saying they might need to temporarily pull it off the shelf until they could figure out how to test these things accurately. Now, the PBA has to we'll talk solutions, right? Because the PBA obviously has to make some changes. Okay. Because it is a black eye.
Yeah, all right, let's get to solutions next. I want to put up this comment by Victor, though, in the chat. He says, if two balls test under and they're each from a different manufacturer, get them both off. It's not about one being better than the other. It's about it being an illegal advantage of being soft. But, Victor, hold on a minute. Hold that thought for a minute. In this whole controversy conversation that has been going on for years, I feel like, here with this particular ball, what's the conversation about? It's about the Purple Hammer. It's not about any other urethane ball. Okay? It's about the Purple Hammer. And the fact of the matter is that what you're saying is true, but the conversation that's been going on in the bowling community doesn't reflect that at all. It doesn't reflect that at all. Okay? It's a sole focus on this ball, the Purple Hammer. And I feel, Rob, that the sole focus on this Purple Hammer is because some people have won with this ball that others in the bowling community don't think are deserving of winning. And I got to be honest, that's bullshit. Yeah, that's bullshit. Because where I was brought up in bowling, I was always taught that it's not the ball, it's the bowler. And again, if one urethane ball is equal to another in what science tells us about the balls, or what the USBC testing told us about the balls, how can you then argue that there's a real difference between this ball and that ball? Again, unless we're going to get down to actual durometer readings, multiple durometer readings, then there's errors with the durometers. So again, the semantics matter here. But listen, I just don't see the difference between the two. Okay? You want to reach out to me and explain it to me? Feel free to reach out to me and explain it to me. But I've read the USBC report in detail. Okay? Rob, we got that report back before we did the interview with Chad Murphy. Okay? So I read that report months and months and months ago. All right? When we did that interview. So I read that a while ago. I went back and read it this week, in preparation for our episode here when all this controversy broke out. And I got to be honest, like, it would take a lot to convince me that what I'm seeing is not what I'm seeing.
Look, all I'm trying to say here is, look, urethane in general right now, and here's a bigger point, right? And I look, you make valid points. Okay.
Why isn't the conversation? You just said urethane in general. Let me ask you a question.
It is.
Why isn't the conversation?
Here.
Okay. So answer me this. Why isn't the conversation in the bowling community more about urethane in general and less about the Purple Hammer specifically?
I'm telling you, because there are reports and rumors, and you know how rumors fly, that there was a knowingly batch of illegal bowling balls that got released. And pros are still out there using that specific batch of Purple Hammers. And
it's rumor. Rumor.
It is, but it's from a reliable source. Mike, this used to be a guy who tests balls for EBI. So, like, what is it? Just this, did Mitch Beasley just make up shit? I know Mitch Beasley's I'm pretty sure he's going to do an interview with Wriggles. I'm not sure if that got released.
No, he is. He is. It hasn't been released yet. But listen, it's a long stretch between, credible source and proven true.
That's what I said. I mean, look, it's all credibility. It's all at this point hearsay until you have evidence to back it up. You know what I mean? But at least from what I'm saying is that the 3 balls that got tested illegal were all old Purple Hammers, which is hearsay. But from my resources and from what I've been reading, those were all old Kentucky Purple Hammers that got tested illegal on that show before the TOC.
Yeah, but that's not surprising because the USBC has shown that over time you use the balls, they get softer. And these guys use the balls for like long stretches of time, without them being tested. And and again, that's the fault of the PBA first to me, and the USBC second. All right, Rob, let's talk solutions. Let's talk solutions here.
Yeah, I really think that the first solution we talked about at the beginning of this is the PBA needs to obviously do testing prior to qualifying. Okay, now is like we talked about, is that going to be the full solution to the issue? I don't know, because if the ball is getting illegal as you use it or getting more softer and softer, is that a main solution?
I don't think it is.
Okay, so do they ban?
Well, I think what you're suggesting there is, should it just be if the ball tests legal at manufacturing, it's good and that's it? Is that kind of what you're? No, okay.
No, I'm saying prior to PBA events. Prior to PBA events.
Okay.
Should they ban urethane? Hold on. Oh,
No. I think that if you want to implement testing before events, okay, I'm all right with that.
Yeah.
I would suggest more research. I think is the solution here. I'd
Hold on, Mike.
I
got breaking news. I got breaking news
right now. Right
now, a PBA email got sent out. I got to read it. The Professional Bowling Association ruling on bowling ball hardness specifications. The PBA has come to the following conclusions after data was collected during the 2022 PBA National Tour season. It will not be feasible for the PBA to conduct field tests on bowling balls for hardness and other ball specification standards completely at every PBA National Tour event due to the volume of equipment, event scheduling, and natural resources. Okay, this is perfect from what we're talking about, okay? Point. It is clear that specific models of bowling balls in the category of traditional urethane, while meeting the minimum hardness specs of 72D at manufacturing stage, experience a reduction in hardness with use. Okay, we already know that, right? As a result of the general consistency in the data indicating a loss of hardness integrity in this category of equipment, beginning at the 2022 PBA World Series of Bowling competition that starts March 7th, any traditional urethane bowling balls manufactured prior to 2020 will not be permitted in the PBA National Tour competition.
I don't know. You had me hyped there. I thought they were going to say period.
There's more.
All right, go ahead.
Traditional urethane bowling balls include Brunswick Hammer DV8 Radical Columbia, Brunswick Avalanche Urethane, BTU Solid, BTU Pearl, Brunswick Karma Urethane, Brunswick True Motion, U-Motion, DV8 Tactic, Columbia Classic U2, Hammer Black Widow, Pink Pearl Urethane, Hammer Black Widow, Black Solid Urethane, Hammer Blue Solid Urethane. So any of the old hammers you can't use. Pitch Black you can't use, Mike. Storm Roto, Black Storm, Pitch Black.
Well, it was manufactured before 2017.
2020.
Oh, before 2020. Sorry.
Pitch Black was way before 2020.
No, but hold on a minute. I think you're misreading that. They can still use a Pitch Black.
No.
Yes, it just has to be a pitch black that was manufactured in 2020 or later. They're still making
Okay.
pitch blacks, Rob. They're
Okay.
Storm is
So
still pumping out pitch blacks. What
correct.
they're saying is we don't
Manufacturers.
want
Correct.
guys throwing balls that are more than 2 years old.
Correct. That's you're
Okay.
right. So they could throw pitch black, but the serial number is going to have to be after 2020. So
Right.
they're going to be checking serial numbers.
Right.
Okay. So other balls. I mean, there's a list of bowling balls here, but it's just pretty much any ball any urethane manufactured prior to 2020.
Right.
Other bowling balls in this category exist and will be handled on a case-to-case basis. The PBA will maintain the right to spot check any bowling balls for compliance with any specifications at any time. So yeah, so that's going on, Mike.
John Stevenson in the chat, interesting comment, says fair solution. I don't know. Is that a fair solution? I'm not sure. It's breaking news, so it takes me a minute to digest things and think, but I don't know. I mean, all you have to do is just drill fresh ones, no? And I don't think that the research is even out there on how quickly or with how many games these balls start to drop in softness. No. So this might solve nothing. No? I don't know.
I mean, whatever. It's, look, like at this point, like the PBA needs to do something.
Yeah,
I mean?
Nico in the
And if
chat says, yeah, it's fair for people because they can't use Kentucky Purple Hammers anymore. Okay. All right, fair enough. But Nico, I got to be honest, like I also heard well, I'm not even going to say that. I'll just put out there. I know that some guys might be holding on to these particular balls because they've worked extremely well for them. But in general, do you ever really see a professional bowler throwing something that's that old? Almost never at this point. So I'd be surprised if there's like hundreds and hundreds of guys walking around with purple hammers in their bag that are that are several years old. We're talking like pre 2020 there, but even further back because because of this the sale. And
I mean, look, like in reality, like does this really like move the needle for like the PBA? Oh, they're like a lot of the guys are just going to drill up new urethane balls that have been throwing old like urethane stuff, right?
Yeah,
like
and
blacks
people are mentioning
hammers,
the grenade.
right?
People are mentioning the grenade from Simo. Yeah, understood. Okay.
Yeah,
I mean that's
so. But I mean, look, like this is a step, and I think it's a PBA is aware of the testing issue prior to 2020, right? So, why not employ more? Because it's money, it's resources.
Yeah,
it was obviously in the email.
Jose Izell says, "Why not just get more people and check the balls? Because they don't want to pay people." I mean, I kind of understand it, but yeah, you would think that the
okay, so I'm
the
curious here.
Integrity of the competition would come first.
So I'm curious here, Mike, and I want to kind of finish this up because we still have some other stuff to talk about. But one last point is, what would have been your solution to this? Because you don't want to ban urethane. You don't want to, test prior to the PBA events, every event, right? Obviously, the PBA can't do it. How do you solve this? Because this is a tough situation. It is a tough.
Well, I would then say, all right, one solution would be to test only the urethane. Okay. They're saying that they can't logistically do this because of the number of balls. But what if you only test the urethane balls? Because that's really where the problem is. Oh, not to mention, though, that if you read the USBC report, resin balls get softer over time, too. Okay.
But so my question to you is, after we just read all of these inconsistencies on the testing, the durometers, the inconsistencies, the variations, the environment, the temperature, the humidity, right? Those are all legitimate. Do testing the urethane balls prior to the events even matter at this point?
Yeah, but does testing them before the show matter then?
No,
right?
No.
So, like, what's all the controversy about that? That's what I was trying to say before. Like, I don't get it. I just don't see it. Right. So
here's the thing: is the PBA opened up a can of worms by testing the bowling balls, right? Because they're having people like me who feel like if a ball has been illegal and been using an illegal ball throughout qualifying and match play, regardless if the pro knew or didn't know, they should be held accountable in some way. I'm not talking, maybe I was a little bit over dramatic on Twitter talking about like an expel or a lifetime ban or whatever. But like, I'm saying that there should be some kind of like maybe fine, or there's got to be some kind of like repercussion, even if the pro like didn't know that this ball would test illegal. I think there is still, my point to it is there's still a risk throwing a purple hammer. There's still a risk throwing a pitch black that's older. You know that might be a pretty good chance that this is illegal, yet you're still throwing it. Okay, so you're really risking the fact that you could be throwing an illegal ball. So the pros know that, and they're still using it. That was my point, is that there should be some kind of accountability on the pros end if they get caught with a legal ball using all qualifying and match play. That was it.
Okay. All right. So in terms of solutions here, other solutions to me, I don't mind this change that they just put out. Make the players drill fresh balls. That's it. Make them drill fresh balls. Put a limit on the number of events a urethane ball could be used in, and then stamp it and get it out of here. And they can't use it in a PBA event ever again. I don't know what that would be. Talk to the players committee. Look at the USBC research. Come up with a number. Maybe it's a couple events. Maybe it's more. I don't know. It seems like they're saying it's a couple years here, right? So,
dude, I love this. I got to pull up Keith Poppy's comment here because this made me laugh. What is the competitive? Every time I see the purple hammer on TV, it looks bad. Do the guys really use urethane for a single push of a turbo? Jacob is the only guy I remember rolling good scores on TV. Where is the data? That's funny because I mean he's kind of got a point. Like the purple hammer. I would like to do the math on how many people actually won a tour event using a purple hammer, at least on TV. But I know, Keith, that it is prevalent during qualifying. They do use it a lot during qualifying.
I was making the point earlier that honestly, this argument isn't about the data. It's about people being unhappy that certain people won with this ball that they feel like they shouldn't. Right?
Well, I mean, there's been times when like people have been using this ball throughout the whole tournament, and they maybe won't use it on TV. I think urethane's a little bit tougher to use on TV. I mean, you saw what happened with Belmonte when he, was using a pitch black and he switched out of it, and like he ended up losing. Using urethane on TV is a little bit more sensitive to me because of how quick the lanes change. And the lights and I kind of feel like urethane is a little bit more of a gamble on TV than it is during qualifying. Is that would you agree with that, Mike?
Yeah, I don't mind that.
Okay.
I like your brother's suggestion here, Jeff, of having durometers, for the players and let them test the balls themselves. And if they find ball that comes up under, it's their job to report it. If they don't report it and it's found out later, and they didn't test, whatever the reason is, they didn't test it. They tested it and didn't say anything.
But
there's a serious penalty.
I know, but this comes back to the whole point where the USBC can't even get the testing right, and that's their job. This is their main function, to make sure that the integrity and the playing field is level. And they're having a hard time coming up with consistent results. Dude, you're gonna give me a PBA, who I was on tour, give me the durometer and let me test the bowling ball. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. You think I could barely freaking open up my thumb hole, let alone like test my bowling ball for hardness and softness. So I don't know if I trust to give the players the power to do that and get legit results. Okay. Because the USBC can't even get consistent results, and they have all the environments down to a science, right? This is a tough problem. Anyway. Mike, I think we spent enough time on our urethane.
All right. Oh, man.
I'm exhausted. I don't think I'll hey, till the next time a ball gets tested illegal, we'll have the same fucking conversation. Mike, there was a TOC. By the way, there was a show that went down on Sunday. So you ready to do our tournament review?
All right.
Hey, by the way, real quick, I got to bring this up. You had no response to when I talked about Rash. Do people owe Rash an apology?
No, I don't think so.
Why? Come on. Why?
Because again, listen, when Sean comes on this show, I'll ask Sean on this show. Sean, explain to me why I should be so outraged by the use of the purple hammer when it's been factually proven that other urethane balls, including the urethane balls that your company makes, also get softer over time.
Okay. It's a fair point, but I still think everybody owes him an apology. Me
See, like
preferably. I
Lou in the
do.
chat again. I mean, I'm going to summarize that, but you're basically saying that the issue isn't the urethane; it's the effect of urethane and what people think of it. And I kind of agree with that. The issue here, to me, isn't really the legality of this ball or what it means. The issue is really that this ball's really good. Uh, a lot of people don't have
Oh,
access to it, and
I need to
they
ask you a
they
question.
they want to see something done about it because there there are legality issues, and I'm going to be clear here because there are legality issues with that type of ball in general. Right? That's the key statement to me. There's
I have a
legality
question.
issues with that type of ball in general. So listen, if guys from Storm want to get rid of the purple hammer, there's an easy solution. Let's get rid of all urethane. Okay, sign on the dotted line to get rid of all urethane, and I feel like most players would agree to that. Rob, Bill said that on Twitter today, and I thought what he said was great. Like if you're a young bowler and you saw that tweet, you should learn from it. He was like, "Yo, I don't really play the lanes like that. I go and I see the pattern and I attack it in whatever way I think is best. And if you take urethane away, it doesn't matter. I'm still gonna out execute whoever I'm bowling with the balls that we have available to us. It's just
Mike,
another tool. So
but I'm a simple question, okay? Because we want to move on here, but we're gonna go to overtime tonight, and I want a simple answer. Has urethane made the game the new resurgence of urethane? Okay, has it made the game better or worse as a whole?
better, so much better. I mean, there's all this controversy.
Oh,
That
for
in and
us.
of itself is better. That in and of
For-
itself is better.
Well, for
And
us,
I think
but I'm
that
talking
well,
competitively.
no, I think it's also created the controversy has leaked down to the league level where you have like league
Oh,
bowlers using urethane and other people getting pissed
dude, we
off
bowled
that
on a
they're using it.
42-foot pattern, and there was urethane getting thrown. Robbie Patterson went 560 for the first two using the new pink urethane on a 42-foot pattern. Okay, but Mike, ultimately
And
though,
listen, am I out of line by saying that like this might be a worst of the week candidate live on the air here? Rick Wagner in the chat saying you're missing the rash point. He doesn't care about hardness. He cares about its effect on the patterns he's bowling on. Legal urethane balls get him just as mad. Rick, I don't know about that.
I'd
I
have
mean,
to ask
if
Rash.
you
I'd have
if
to
you
ask
think
Rash
that
that.
Sean Rash and his position and doesn't contribute at all or factor into the legality issue of some of these balls, I would highly disagree with that, my man. I would
So
highly
wait,
disagree with that
now
because
I'm asking this.
basically what Rick Wagner is saying is that Rash is yelling at the people on his team about their urethane balls the same way he's yelling at the other ones. And he
No,
said
I
three.
don't think
So
so.
I
No.
disagree with that. Rick,
So answer my question
you're
though.
on notice for worst of the week, bro. Stick around. You
Forget
might win worst of the week.
forget podcast content because urethane's been gold for us. Okay, forget that. As a whole, for a competitive bowler in a competitive environment, and as a fan watching bowling, has
Love it.
urethane made the game worse or better?
Better. There's more options for choice. There's more discussion about what a guy should have used. Should he have used urethane? Should he not?
No,
Darren Tang makes the TV show. Is he going to use urethane? Is he
no,
not?
no,
Jacob
no,
Buttriff wins with urethane one week. Oh, he can't use it the next week. Does he have a
no,
chance?
no,
I
no.
don't know, man.
You're, dude. As an entertainment factor, it's the worst. Okay, I don't want to watch a urethane getting thrown 5 different ways on Sunday. I hate that shit.
I appreciate
Entertainment sucks.
I appreciate the guys that throw urethane well because
It's a
to be able
handcuff.
to get slow enough and spank on it hard enough to get those balls to
No,
react the way
no,
they do on some of these
no.
patterns is just super impressive.
It created a huge advantage for two-handed bowling on top of it. Okay, two-handed bowling was already an advantage to a certain degree. Okay, but whenever I bowled against a two-hander on a fresh short pattern before the urethane, before the resurgence of urethane, I knew that I had an advantage bowling against them. I did know because as a one-handed lower rev rate player, I had an advantage. As soon as the resurgence of urethane came out, it gave the two-handers now a way to bowl on the fresh, on the short, and then transition out of urethane into a high-performance bowl and able to loft the heads and then circle the whole fucking lane. Okay? To me, it created a huge advantage for two-handed players in general. Okay? And on top of that, it's boring to watch. Dude, urethane has been nothing but a headache for the USBC, for the PBA. It's been nothing as a handcuff, okay, for players to just use urethane all the time and be able to like control their rev rate, control their motions. Dude, urethane is 100 times worse for the game as a whole. For a content producer like us, it's been gold.
True. All right, Rob, we got a Tournament of Champions to review. Shall we do it?
Yes, let's do it. So
all right.
TOC review.
If you're new around here, we have a format that we use to review the tournaments. You can play along with us. We have various categories we discuss. Perhaps you have your own answers that you would like to share with us here. So feel free to play along.
Oh wait, hold on, wait.
Time, you can listen and record them and play along next time. What's up,
Lindsay? Quit hating on us two-handed urethane bowlers, Rob. Maybe Lindsay, are you a two-handed player? Because first off, I'm also. I want to see women get into the two-handed game. Okay, I think the first woman two-hander to dominate is going to be great to watch. Two-handed players are fun to watch, okay, when they're using a high-performance bowling ball, okay, not when they're using urethane.
And Lindsay, listen, he's my co-host. We all know him, but I got to say this, Lindsay. Rob is never boring to watch, okay? Bowling, never bowl. You go to watch Rob bowl, oh, my goodness. You most of the time, you're going to get a show for sure. Okay.
Yeah.
No question.
God forbid I ever make a TV show, Mike. God forbid that
Rob,
ever happens.
The first category that we do for each tournament is.
Well, we want to go to run the ladder.
We run the ladder. Let's run the ladder first here, Rob. The opening match was
nobody
amazing.
wanted to win. Nobody wanted to win that match.
It was amazing TV. I was gambling on it. It was amazing. It was exciting. To have money bet on that match was like being on a roller coaster. So it was amazing. It was great.
Sean Maldonado beats Tommy Jones in a roll-off.
After they both absolutely fall apart at the end of the game. After bowling excellently in the first part of the game.
Yeah, and Tommy Jones really had a chance to win this match by just making a 7-pin. And Mike, you never see Tommy do that. And I was shocked more than anybody. What do you think about him getting distracted? You think that played a part?
Patrick D in the chat asked him what distracted Tommy. It was Dave Ryan. It was definitely Dave Ryan. He started right when Tommy started his approach and got kind of loud. I definitely think it was Dave Ryan there. Okay, but still, you know what? Like, you think still got to be able to make the shot there.
Okay, so I'm gonna get some heat for this, Mike. This feedback on this match.
Go ahead.
Sean Maldonado is tough to watch for me while watching him bowl. I don't like his style. I don't like really how he bowls. And I feel when I watch him, I feel awkward watching him bowl.
If I bowled Lig against Sean Maldonado and I didn't know him, I would think I'm going to mop this guy.
Oh, he just is like a two-handed like spray kind of guy.
I'm going to mop this guy. I mean, look at him. He's hopping at the line. He's hopping at the line, bro.
Yeah,
look, he's not even solid at the line. Okay,
I respect the hell out of him. Right, he's a great bowler. Obviously, he makes TV shows. He's a lot better than bowling, right?
Hell yeah. But I'm
just as a fan watching him.
I generally agree with you. You know, I do like his like laid back but relaxed and personable, I would say, kind of attitude on TV. I do like that, but. Yeah, no, I hear you on the other aspect for sure. No,
when I watched him bowl, I kind of felt awkward watching.
Maldonado wins the first match. He goes on to bowl Sean Rash. Okay.
Yeah.
Rash never had that great of a look. I didn't feel like anyway.
I kind of feel like Rash used the wrong ball. I feel like that was used the wrong ball. Yeah, I mean, I think if he probably would admit it to my at least he bowled 180. The ball, like if he leaked it a little bit right, he was 2-8-10ing. I just kind of felt like the lanes were in transition on top of it. I kind of felt like that was Rash's match to win, but he just didn't have the right reaction in his hand.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if his shot making to me was all that great. They looked very demanding in terms of the level that you had to repeat a shot to really consistently strike on the way that pattern developed. That's my opinion of watching the show anyway. And yeah, I don't think that his execution and repeatability was really up to the level that it needed to be. Now, the surprising thing to me in that match was that neither was Maldonado's. Neither was Maldonado's, but it seemed like Maldonado got a few key critical, not maybe not breaks for strikes, but breaks that allowed him to stay in the match and find his way to a win there. So I didn't think really either player had it that great in that match. But yeah, Maldonado comes out on top again. All right, so that puts Maldonado up against Dom Barrett. And to me, Rob, this is kind of where the show got boring a little bit. This is why I say that like the PBA needs to think about doing something with their format that can better keep the viewers' attention when these matches are like out. Because Dom is shooting 279. I think he went like, what did he go? Like front 7 or front 8 or something like that. I think he went front 7.
Chasing 300.
Chasing
Chasing
300.
300. Oh, yeah,
Maldonado kind of struggled throughout the game. So, like, the game was out early. It wasn't a real interesting match. And, by the 10th frame, you could tell that Dom was kind of setting up to figure out what he was going to do going into that final match. So, puts him up against Prather. And I saw on Brad and Kyle's channel, I watch most of their stuff. They interviewed Prather after the match, and Prather had commented how whenever he got left of 25, I think it was, on this pattern all week, he used the dark code. And honestly, to me, the TV pair developed kind of differently, and he had a game plan of what he wanted to do, and he went out and he stuck with that game plan. And honestly, I felt like he executed that game plan pretty well. But it just didn't have that great of a look. It didn't look like it was giving him what he needed. He also missed the 3-6-10, okay, which was a very critical part in the match. I'm actually going to give him my spare Shuta award for that when we get to that part. But Dom Barrett, gets a couple lucky spares. Okay, let's be clear.
He bounced one out.
Yeah, he bounced a couple. But hey, listen, those things happen. Sometimes it's your day. When he needed the shots, he got up and threw the shots and wins for the Triple Crown. Rob.
Yeah, here's another match where being the 1 seed was at a disadvantage. Okay, and when I was bowling and we were watching, and it was great because I was able to like talk to Wesley Lowe and Mike Haugen while we were watching the show while we were bowling. So that was pretty cool. I was like having my own little live commentary while I was bowling, and we talked about the 1 seed. And when I saw the odds were 50-50 with Barrett and Prather, and I said to Haugen, I said, bro, like, how if you're betting right now, how do you not take Dom Barrett? He just bowled 279. He knows the pair. He's comfortable. He's relaxed. Prather hasn't been in a title match in forever, right? For a while. Forever is what, like probably a year. And like it feels that way though. How do you not take Barrett in that match? Just another advantage.
I had Barrett to win the whole thing at plus 300 for $100.
But I'm just saying, like, if you were betting that match,
cashed in on that one. Thank you, Dom Barrett.
If you were betting that match, like, how do you not take Dom Barrett? And this was just another case of being the 1 seed was at a disadvantage.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Great performance by Dom, man. Really,
yeah.
He bowled great on the show. Like,
I did want to see Rash bowl Tommy, though. I did want to see that match so bad. I felt like that would have been a great match, especially if Tommy would have been throwing.
Yeah,
a purple hammer. I felt like that might have been a good one, but
yeah, but okay. All right, so we run the ladder. Run the ladder is where we go through each match individually. All right, so that gives you your rundown. You got our thoughts there. All right, Rob, what category you want to go to first, folks? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 5 categories that we do every week to hand out some awards to the PBA players. So who do we got here, Rob?
We're gonna go to the spare shooter because we talked about it.
Spare shooter. It's Chris Prather. It's Chris
You got Chris Prather?
It's Chris Prather. Because if he makes the 3-6-10, honestly, it kind of changes that match.
Maybe. Yeah, agreed. Because the match was already kind of they were going back and forth, but
he missed that, and Dom got up and got to throw 2 shots with basically no pressure on him at all.
I mean, my spare shooter was going to Tommy Jones. Dude, missing that 7-pin was just brutal. Look, like you're in practically you tied, right? You tied. So,
okay, I'm just putting some comments up here.
Yeah, Milk Carton, Jason Couch.
Just people.
Yeah, we're gonna get to him. Yep, 7-pin. That was my award.
Yeah,
okay. All right, let's go to Milk Carton, Mike. So Milk Carton award.
Nico.
Oh, did I lose Mike again? Mike.
Yeah, I'm here. How do you not give Milk Carton to Jason Couch this week?
No, I had someone. I had somebody who's close to Jason Couch for my award. Dave Waka.
Okay, like that one. Okay. Like that one a lot. I'm a big Dave Waka fan, to be honest with you.
Dude,
I used to try and throw like him as a kid.
Dude, I've been talking to him, so hopefully we can get him on it for an interview soon. Because I'm sure he's got some good ones, some good stories. I want to talk about the mullet. His
game was so tight.
It was. Oh, his rev rate was unbelievable. With that 8-ball. Remember that 8-ball? Oh, man, he used to throw it so good with that 8-ball. Okay, Mike, let's go with dumpster diving. So I want to start dumpster diving because I've been ready to give this award out. My man goes to Mike Machuga, okay? And I get a little bit of vindication giving Mike Machuga the dumpster diving award. Mike, do you remember what he did to our boy?
I do.
The Machuga flop, remember that whole deal? He did it against Bill. And I'm pretty sure that was Bill's first TV show.
Yeah.
Right? That was Bill's, and he did it. And I'm still not happy about that, Mike. Till this day, I'm still sour about it.
Okay. For the dumpster diving category, I have all the lefties.
Ooh.
All the lefties. It was a rough week for the lefties in general.
Like a lefty massacre.
Yeah, when I went to go look at the dumpster diving category and I saw all the lefties like grouped up in the bottom, I was like, ooh, man, rough week to be a lefty there. So I got to give it to them.
Okay, who ride with me and not ride with me? Let's start with not riding with me. Who are you not riding with, Mike?
I am probably not riding with Sean Parry, PBA laneman, because right after the show, he got fired, from what I heard, and that's a miserable ride home. So I'm not riding home with him. Sorry.
Oh, that is brutal.
Brutal.
Whom I was so focused on who I'm riding with that I think I forgot who I was not riding with. But I mean, it really probably is going to go to like Chris Prather, Mike.
Okay. Well, you're probably riding with Brad and Kyle then, because I think no, you're riding with Prather and Packy and Kevin Williams and Chris Jones likely, and yeah, because they were all staying at Prather's house, so that would be a good ride.
Yeah. I'm not riding with them. I don't want to deal with that.
Okay.
Who you want to ride with, Mike?
Oh, this was so easy for me, bro.
Okay.
This was so easy for me. I'm riding with Dom and Stu, bro. I'm riding with Dom because he won, and it's going to be a great ride. But I'm really riding with Dom and Stu because it's a double bonus. You get Dom, but you get Stu. And Stu had a good week too, okay? And you know you're going to stop and eat at some good spots. You know you're going to have some good dinners on that ride because you just won $100,000 and Stu's with you. So the quality of your food stops is going to be great. Probably very, very entertaining. Who doesn't love an English accent? Okay. Who doesn't love an English? By the end of the ride, I might be speaking with an English accent myself. So that was an easy one for me.
Yeah, I think Anthony Battaglia stole my answer for who I'm riding with. Mike, I'm riding with Ryan Simonelli, okay? Because when Ryan,
That's just wrong.
Mike, was there now? Yes or no? Because we're going right into the laneman like talk, right? Was there anybody that was more happy of Sean Perry getting fired than Ryan Simonelli?
Probably not.
Mike, I see you, Haas. Who do you see? Who are you seeing, Haas?
I see you. Haas was a tough week this week because it's like it's all pretty well known guys. All right, but I'm gonna give I see you Haas to, and I'm probably gonna butcher his name, Matt Zwig.
Yeah, I know Matt Zwig. He's from my area. He's from Arizona.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it to Matt Zwig because he bowled really good, and I watched him somewhat this week, and he threw it pretty good, I thought, and I was kind of impressed. So I see you, Haas. I see you, Matt Zwig, getting it done a little bit in a field of beasts. He's out there in a field of serial killers, surviving. So I see you, Haas.
Mike, you know who I see? Karsten Hansen.
Ooh, good one. Dude,
He's already won.
He's already won, though.
He did, but he finished 8th in a field of killers, Mike. The best of the best, Mike.
Killers.
8th. He finished right below Anthony Simon and Kyle Troop. And right after EJ Tackett. Okay, some of the hottest PBA players on tour right now. So Karsten Hansen, I see you, Haas. Denmark. If you don't know what Haas is, hit us up in the DMs. I'll let you know what a Haas is. So
okay. All right, fair enough. All right, I think that does it, Rob.
Yeah, that does it. And okay, so real quick, let's talk about Sean. We talked about Sean Perry a little bit getting fired from Bolero. Okay, real quick here. I want to go through this in a few minutes. As somebody who works in corporate America, who is a senior manager in an office of 150 to 200 people, I can't just fire somebody without giving them an explanation or reason for firing them. Okay? There are steps in corporate America, and I say that because Bolero is corporate America, Mike, that you need to take as a manager and as a senior leadership of an office to understand to the employee of why you're letting them go. Okay? So there has to be like write-ups and performance issues. It's not like I can be someone like Donald Trump, where I could just call into the office and just say you're fired, and then they're like, wait, what the hell just happened? I feel like that's a little bit what happened with Sean Perry, because he didn't know for days why they fired him. Now, according to the facts, right, is what I've read, that even Tom Clark put out a public statement that said, yes, Sean Perry was let go, but it had nothing to do with PBA lane maintenance or anything to that fact, right? Of the PBA and the technical side. But as a corporate America, you can't just fire someone without they have no idea or no reason why you fired them. In reality, I'm not sure, because there's probably a lot of other factors. If that's the case, if they just fired him, he might have a case for a wrongful termination suit, honestly.
Well, because I mean, like you said, there's you would imagine, even if it's something that's fictional or fraudulent, there's got to be some kind of reason that they decided to make that move. Now, if it's not related to the PBA, and I think it would be hard to argue that it's related to his job at Bolero, because that's probably pretty easy if you're the guy doing the lanes and maintenance for the PBA. That leads me to believe that perhaps it's something connected to the PBA, but not directly related to the PBA.
Well, he pissed somebody off, Mike.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like he pissed somebody off, probably at a level in some kind of organization, connected to the PBA, that, they were able to get this done, whether they were connected to him or not.
So I'm going to read Leon Platt's comment. By the way, your kids are adorable. Sean commented on his post saying it was corporate BS and it was a personal agenda by a woman in charge of set.
Okay.
So he pissed somebody off.
Who's that woman, though? Is that somebody that works for Bolero?
Is it Coley?
Is that somebody that works for the PBA? Is that somebody that works for Fox? I don't know.
Yeah. So they fired him, right?
Yeah, and they fired him from his regular job, yes.
So he pissed somebody off. Bottom line is, now, does it have something to stem from all the problems that their PBA is having with the Purple Hammer and the testing? I don't think so.
Yeah,
that's speculation.
Jared in the chat saying Lucas Wiseman just announced.
We were ahead of that.
That one is banning some. That PBA is banning some urethane balls. Jared, we got the scoop on that. I saw that on Twitter too. I was going to let Lucas know, but it's all right. I'll let him. Yeah. I'll let him think he's got the scoop on that. We actually scooped that live on the show here. They're going to ban balls that were made manufactured before 2020. Right. So, okay. All right, Rob. Here's the real issue to me with the lane man situation. I mean, shout to Sean Parry, right? No, I don't want to see anybody lose their job, and we kid here and have fun, but we're talking about real life stuff here.
True.
The issue to me becomes, well, is there going to be immediate issues because of this at the World Series, and who's doing the late maintenance? I had some players tell me that the lane maintenance on the PBA Tour is not as simple as you might think. It's not as simple as your regular run-of-the-mill bowling center, right? So that's my immediate concern, and that's something that I'll be looking for as I'm watching this week. The best week in bowling, by the way. Guys, the best week in bowling is here, baby. It's the World Series of Bowling. We got bowling starting tomorrow. We got live shows starting Sunday. The best week in bowling is back.
Where is the PBA World Series being held at this year? Do you know? I don't even know.
I saw.
I'm trying to read. It's not Vegas. It's not at South Point.
No, I think outside of Milwaukee.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say
Bolero, Wauwatosa.
Oh, yeah, Wisconsin.
Yeah,
Wauwatosa, Wisconsin.
So, yeah, our boy Pfeff is going. That's right. That's right. He's out there. He's out there. He's going to be outside.
Yeah.
He's going to be at the PBA Tour event. If you don't follow Bowling with the Pfeff, check him out on Twitter. He's going to have some dope content out.
So let's talk about the World Series of Sweepers, okay? Because that's what it is.
Stop it.
The World Series of giving titles out like it's fucking Pez. 2-1 odds says that the lefties are going to absolutely crush them this week because of Sean Parry not being there. Okay. Fair to say Ryan Simonelli wins a title this week. Fair to say that Ryan Simonelli wins a title this week. Mike.
Wild.
No, if he wins a title this week, is it fair to say that everything he said in our interview could be a fact and what he was saying and all that conspiracy?
No.
I'm praying for him to win a title this week.
Oh, okay. All right. Rob, let's give the people what they want. Oh my God. You want to go first or what? You want me to go first?
No, you can go. I gotta pull up my I could go. So this was I guess I gotta get on this forum, Mike. Because there's a bowling forum on Facebook. There's probably 100 of them. Called the Bowling Science Forum. Have you heard of this yet? This is probably worse than
I did.
It's
Mike. It's actually Mo Pinnell's kid, right? Mikey Pinnell, I think, is the person.
Yeah. So hey, look, if Mikey Pinnell is posting stuff on that, then I wouldn't definitely give Mikey Pinnell worst of the week. But if you have ordinary everyday bowlers posting on the Bowling Science Forum, this could be an absolute just hidden gem for worst of the week. Anyway, my worst of the week is from Gary Blum from the Bowling Science Forum. He asks, what happens to your ball reaction when lanes are oiled through the pin deck and are not cleaned off from the back on the way back to the beginning? I'll tell you what happens. The ball never hooks. It's not bowling science. It's bowling common sense, people. What are we doing here? It's not bowling science. It's common sense. Mike, I think we should start our own bowling forum and call it the Bowling Common Sense. Okay? If you put powder in your thumb hole, the ball falls off your thumb. If you don't give one lane courtesy, you might get punched if you bowl in New Jersey. I mean, this is just common sense, people. Anyway, that was my worst of the week. Yep.
All right, here's mine. I just saw. Am I going out here? Can you hear me, Rob?
No,
Sorry.
yeah, I can hear you. You're back.
I actually got a new internet connection too, people, and it's still a little shaky here.
Oh, I
was posted by Eric Mogg. Okay, Eric Mogg, congratulations, worst of the week, Hammer Bowling message board. He says, got the Black Widow Ghost. Was bowling really decent with it. Wasn't shooting under 250. Hit over 120. Any suggestions on what I should be doing? I don't know.
Drill a couple new balls.
250. Wasn't shooting under 250. Now can't shoot above 120. That seems a little extreme to me. I think you got some major issues going on there.
The variation seems to be a lot bigger than the bowling barometer variation.
Yo, Ruther, I had Comcast come out, okay? I had Comcast come out. They gave me a new modem. I checked my routers. I just checked my speed with Rob before we got on here. It was fine. I don't know. I think the issue, honestly, might be my Mac interfacing with the program that we use here. So, yeah, I'm trying.
My Mac,
I'm trying.
It
okay?
could be
trying.
something from
your
All
right, I'm working it out. All right, Rob, wrap it up. All right, here's my final thought, man. And I put this out on Twitter, okay? All balls are cheater balls. Okay? All balls, all current day balls are cheater balls if we're being honest about it. I understand that technology advances. I get it. I'm okay with it. I'm not saying that like we should go back to the Stone Age of bowling. All right. But I just find it a little silly that with all the steroid type bowling balls that are available on the market today, we're arguing about, what seems to be a relatively primitive type of piece of equipment. So I don't know, man. The next time I see somebody that has like 3 revs on the ball, drop the ball on the lane, spinning it this way, and then the ball flips over and flips over again and crushes the hole. I don't know. I'm going to think like, wow, doesn't it seem like the argument about urethane is a little silly?
Got it. Good. That's a good final thought, Mike. My final thought is the new PBA rule that just literally we broke live on air. I'm curious to see what the USBC now, if they do something in response to what the PBAs came in. Does the USBC now, will they unsanction balls previous to 2020? Because if the PBA is doing it, it seems to be like there's a lot of inconsistency to what the USBC rules are now. So will I be able to use the 2017 pitch black or a purple hammer at the USBC national tournament. But if I bowl PBA tournament the next day, I can't use it. So that would be my final thought. I'm curious to see what USBC comes in and what their comment is on it. And yeah, the World Series of Bowling is next week, so there'll be a lot of bowling. Unfortunately for me, I'll be honest, I don't have a Flow Bowling subscription. I didn't renew it for own personal reasons. It had nothing to do with money. It had everything to do with I want to pay for a product.
Yo,
I feel like
while we're here, somebody that was in the chat went on and tagged us in Lucas Wiseman's tweet about urethane balls being banned. And I said to him, yeah, we actually broke the news on the show tonight while we were live. And do you know that this guy texts back, oh, you have a show? You don't want this smoke right now, Lucas Wiseman. Not with what's going on with Flo. Yeah, we got a show. And, we actually break news at the same time as the biggest media outlet in bowling, or what used to be the biggest media outlet in bowling anyway. But clearly Flow Bowling will be packing it in sooner than later, I would imagine. So I don't know, man. I don't know if you want the Sweep the Rack people coming after you and starting about Flow Bowling on there. So proceed with caution, I would say.
Yeah, and I guess to my final thought on the whole like Flow Bowling thing is me not having a subscription. To me, I'd rather pay my money and get a Bowl TV subscription and watch the PWBA. Honestly, at this point, I feel like that's a better product. So
I hear you, being fair. All right, Rob.
Lucas.
We went into super overtime. For the people tonight. It was fun though. Listen, I said to Jeff Rickles in a conversation this week. I said, Jeff, like a lot of people don't follow bowling. The general public doesn't care about it. Like even a lot of people that are in bowling don't care about it. But from doing this podcast, I gotta say, like there always seems to be something to talk about in bowling. Rob, am I right? Like every week when we get on, like there's always something to talk about. There's always
this year has been
drama.
This year has been this PBA season for us has been incredible. I mean, I love having drama. Honestly, it's great for a content producer. I'll be honest with you. You people in the chat that come and support us every week, you guys are the shit. It's awesome. We appreciate it. Anybody that picked up a rosin bag, we appreciate it. There's still like maybe a couple left, Rob. Yeah, there's like one or two left. I think that. I'll start deleting them off the website at this point because I don't want someone to put a big order in and we're not going to be able to supply it.
Yeah,
so a couple more orders and it's going off the website.
A lot of people have reached out to us about other merch ideas. We got your emails. We feel you. We're working on it.
We're working it out.
There's a PBA show on Sunday, doubles. We expect our boy to be on that show, I would imagine. He's bowling with the GOAT this week, so we'll see how that goes. Hit us up on social media. He's at BrooklynRob11. I'm at the 215th. Email us, sweeptherack@gmail. Check out our website, sweeptherackbowling.com. And listen, have a great week. Everybody enjoy. Interact with us on social media. Hit the subscribe button. All right, give us a subscribe, especially if you're new here. Okay, Rob, have a good one, homie.
You too, man. Take care.
You are now listening to Sweep the Rack podcast featuring Brooklyn Rob.